Hello everyone and welcome to another behind the scenes process video. In today's video I will be running through how I made my piece Little Home. This one's a little unorthodox in that I didn't film the beginning of it because I actually wasn't intending on this being a piece that would be featured on a greeting card and hence a piece that would have a behind the scenes video. But I liked it so much I decided to do one later in the game. But yeah, let's jump right in. Thanks for joining. For this reference, I photoshopped a robin's egg into a photo of a bird's nest with a flower that I found on Unsplashed. Like I said earlier, I hadn't initially intended for this piece to be featured on a greeting card. I was originally making it to be able to be mailed out without any framing, so I was intentionally using mediums that don't really smudge easily. First up, we've got our Caran Neocolor II water-soluble wax pastels. I love this versatile medium. I don't know how many times I've said that full name in these videos. And then we've got our Prismacolor colored pencils. Old standard, but I love them. I got the idea for this piece because I am currently in the process of making a bird piece for each month of 2021, and I figured that all birds come from eggs, so let's get one in there. I had originally put in the outline of the forms in watercolor, but I still don't really get watercolors. They don't come intuitively to me at all. I tend to be pretty heavy-handed with my mediums, so maybe we just aren't meant to be. After leaving behind the watercolors, maybe forever. Just kidding, I'm way too stubborn to quit. I just started hopping around the image, putting in marks and trying to be creative about how to use my mark making with the pencils and the wax pastels in ways that would represent the bird's nest, egg, and flower in interesting and novel ways. Typically, I use the wax pastels to put in a background or watercolor texture and then just make marks on top of it. And that's because I am also frequently using them with soft pastels that can't mix with water. But for this piece, I was just using colored pencils and wax pastels, so I tried partially activating some of the pastel marks I made on top to transition from line into watercolor textures that in turn would surround the waxy colored pencil marks that I'd made before. Also, and I know you could just make the argument that this is a form of watercoloring, but for some reason it makes more sense to me this way, I would brush my brush pen against the end of the wax pastel to load the brush pen up with pigment and then paint onto the paper with the pen that way. Don't know why that makes more sense to me, but I enjoyed using that process here. Another benefit of not worrying about smudging was having the ability to really freely jump around the piece without much concern. This was important specifically for this piece, but really for most pieces for me. But here, because the nest is so detailed, it would have been really easy for me to get too caught up in one little spot if I didn't have the freedom to jump around more, and then the piece would have just become really tiresome and would have taken much longer than it should have. And then I really got into a groove. Often here I would define an intersection of two or more pieces of straw with some dark pencil marks and then fill in everything in between. that wraps up this behind the scenes video. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, or don't. Thanks again. Bye.